Welcome back to Block TV and a special edition as Facebook is launching its much-awaited Libra blockchain project. Just a short while ago, the site Libra.org went live, and the social media giant is ready to discuss its crypto plans that have been rumored for months, creating quite the stir and controversy in the sphere. Now, as of 5 a.m. Eastern Time today, Libra.org went live. The coin is promised to do just the same somewhere in the beginning of 2020. According to the information released by Facebook, the company said that it is in development. Global cryptocurrency called Libra will launch next year alongside the underlying blockchain-based network that will support it. There is even a white paper. I'm joined in studio, luckily for me, by Block TV's Asher Westrup-Evans, senior correspondent, and Yaniv Feldman, partner at Juno Capital Fund. Hello to you, gentlemen. But before we do anything else, let's first take a look at the video released by Facebook as they just launched this morning. This is an explainer. Let's take a look.
Remember when these were fast? And these? Technology has improved the world around us. So why is it simple to send one of these anywhere in an instant, but not money?
Bartering to shell, to gold, to money.
What if we made money truly global, stable, and secure? What if everyone was invited to the global economy with access to the same financial opportunities? Introducing Libra, a new global currency designed for the digital world, backed by the belief that money should be fast for Ope in Lagos, simple for Saul's family business in Manila, and secure for Betsabe when sending money home to Mexico City. It's powered by blockchain, making it safe and accessible, no matter who you are or where you're from. So join us as we move towards a world where money works for everyone. This is Libra, and it's just the beginning.
Block TV, as we said, special edition as Facebook just launched the Libra.org site. And gentlemen, with me in studio, Asher Westrup-Evans, Block TV's correspondent, and of course, Yaniv Feldman, luckily for us, from Juno, but also crypto special advisor, as far as I'm concerned. I could speak about that video for an hour before we continue, because the fact that Facebook chooses to use Mexico City specifically within that promotional video is fascinating. They're pegging this, apropos pegging, completely as the savior of third world countries and places that really cryptocurrency was supposed to solve things. Before anything else, as we said, we are taping this not even an hour after this site has launched. Asher Westrup-Evans, going to start with you because you read the white paper. Mm-hmm. Tell us what's in it, what we expected. Is it what we expected? What do we know?
Look, this, Yael, is a fairly comprehensive document. I mean, they've done a thorough job. They've left no stone unturned in making sure that they address some of the major concerns and deployment issues that people have had in the past. That being said, it's a document of optimism, hope, a sort of a plan layout that will be laid out. Look, they've gotten into the nitty-gritty and they have a lot of complementary technical papers alongside the main statement, which I haven't had a chance to go through yet. I read fast, but not that fast. But the main document itself really highlights what the project will look like. It highlights the problem first, what the project will look like, how current crypto markets have failed to deal with the problem as it stands. They've dealt with the decentralization concerns that a lot of regulators and individuals have had. They've spoken.
What are they saying about decentralization?
Okay, well, hold on. Yeah. I'll get to it all in a moment because they will address it in the form of the Libra Association, what the governing body of this coin will look like. Because this is no Bitcoin here. There is a governing body that will have an overarching control of this problem.
Although the control for the first year?
No, still spread throughout.
Okay.
But with Facebook taking a leading role, as they say. So I've picked out a couple of key quotes which I think summarize some important issues that we've been talking about through so far. And I'm going to go through them right now. So the first one that I want to address is dealing with a key point. So they say, we hope to have approximately 100 members of the Libra Association, we'll get into that in a moment, by the launch target in the first half of 2020. Now, that's an interesting thing for a few things to dig out of that, of course. First half of 2020 launch, very ambitious. A lot of people will be really
around the
interested
corner.
to see how it works out, exactly. But also that 100-member Libra Association target, again, we'll get down into a moment, but as we've seen already from the early reporting we got from the block, big players already on board, a number of those big players, Visa, PayPal, MasterCard, Uber, Lyft,
Prestige, I mean, we're talking about the big guns. All of them
Exactly.
join on, yeah.
Now, number 2, an interesting one, they talk about once the Libra network launches, and this deals with the point that you said before, Facebook and its affiliates will have the same commitments, privileges, and financial obligations as any other founding member. As one member among many, Facebook's role in governance of the association will be equal to that of its peers. Now there's a lot to take down from that, but really they are segmenting this as a separate entity, something that Facebook is clearly leading the charge in. No one can
Leading
deny
the charge, but when it comes to control of this entity, they are going to share it, or so they say.
Exactly.
They're going to share it
Yeah,
with the partners.
no distribution will be a huge part of that. And Yaniv is probably more qualified than me to break down into that, how the split up in the sort of control and actual segmenting of this.
And I'm not stopping you. I just want to, because this is fascinating. I want to hear Yaniv on this for a second.
Of course.
Just to remind viewers, as we said, this is a special edition, and Facebook went live with Libra.org, with the site, not with the coin. Were there any, again, the markets in the States at the time of this taping are not open yet, but it has not affected has it affected, first of all, the Facebook stock? Has it affected Bitcoin?
So Facebook, we're still waiting for the US markets to open for trading
Exactly.
to begin in the Nasdaq. But what we are seeing with Facebook so far, limited so far. Not a huge jump that we can see. We look at the charts there. This is laid out over the 1 minute chart. A little bit of an uptick, but again, keeping very much with trends. Certainly no major surge as everyone rushes in to start buying yet. That being said, as you say, this is before US markets.
This is before US markets.
It's early morning in the US. Maybe the people just haven't gotten up and gotten to their screens yet to start taking a look at this. News will just be filtering in. We're here with the breaking developments. It'll be interesting to see over the next few hours.
I'm going to stop you for just 1 minute, because Yaniv, when we're looking at, and I think one of the fascinating things for people in the sphere right now is it's this control issue. It's Facebook promising, okay, it's us, it's got the brand name, but the entity will be controlled by others. How do you see that working? And you read also the white paper.
Yeah, I read the white paper, and I also started reading the technical white paper, so I'm really trying to understand how exactly it's going to work. But for the structural issues, are definitely here. Meaning that the companies in that association, they have a very strict criteria. If you're a hedge fund or an investor, you have to have over $1 billion in assets under management. If you're a public company, you have to have over $1 billion in value, and so on and so on. So meaning that the entrance to that private club is very, very exclusive. Meaning
That sounds a little like the 1%, but I just...
So based out of Switzerland, in case you were concerned.
Exactly, okay.
Yeah, and if you try to take a step back and look at what they're actually trying to build here, is that we're trying to build a global monetary system that won't be controlled by the government, but will be controlled by rich corporations. So it's
By other rich people. I'm just
yes. Basically, conspiracy theory says that it's the same rich people anyway, but right now they won't have the governments to intermediate.
Okay.
But right now, Facebook says that they're going to relinquish control, or they're going to be just one member of. Having said that, they're pretty much, they have the first mover advantage, being the ones developing it and already have in place or a test version for a wallet building on top of it. The
wallet will be called Calibra.
Calibra,
okay.
yeah.
So like a brand that's synergized.
Yeah, they already launched Calibra.com, and it's a subsidiary, a for-profit subsidiary of Facebook to handle that. Basically, the first major use case for Libra would be money transmittance over Facebook and WhatsApp. Right. So having said all that, obviously Facebook would be a member of a consortium, probably will be a leader, at least in the next year or so. What happens afterwards, we don't know yet. What is interesting is that in their technical white papers, they are saying, yes, this is a permission blockchain. Yes, we understand it's more centralized than other decentralized options. Right. But we are looking and researching at making this and permissionless blockchain and allowing anyone to join as validator in the next 5 years.
In the next 5 years. No, this has been well thought out. Back to you, Asher, though, with that white paper and what you glean out of it in the first read, more points in it.
Okay, so a really important point is talking about the nature of the currency itself and its what the quote-unquote intrinsic value they intend to back it with. Because this is not going to be a volatile cryptocurrency
It's not going to be
in the form of Bitcoin, exactly. So this is the way that they have chosen to reference it. It's the third sort of major point that I took away. So they say that the backing process they say this approach is similar to how other currencies were introduced in the past. To help instill trust in a new currency and gain widespread adoption during its infancy, it was guaranteed that a country's notes could be traded in for real assets, such as gold, of course, the gold standard. Instead of backing Libra with gold, though, it will be backed by a collection of low volatility assets, such as bank deposits or short-term government securities in currencies from stable and reputable central banks. Now again, a few things to take away from that. That's a key point as to how they intend to approach it, and for every Libra coin that is created, they will be purchasing, they claim, additional assets in order to back that intrinsically. I mean, similar to what we saw with the Tether approach.
Exactly, and Yaniv coming in on this again, it's going to be backed but not pegged, and you found that interesting.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Most stable coins up until this point were pegged to the backed assets. The backed stable coins were pegged to the price of the asset backing them. If they were stable coins pegged to the dollar, they would backed by dollars. There are stable coins backed by gold that are pegged to gold, and so on and so on. The fact that there's now a stable coin that's backed by a basket of assets, meaning it's not, and we don't always know the mix of the assets and what the value of all of them altogether. We still don't know how the process of everything is going to be in with all regards to transparency. But it's not going to be pegged to any of the assets backing it, meaning it's not going to be pegged to a dollar or to gold or to yen or to anything else. And if we are to think properly like rumors, because that hasn't been discussed now in the announcement at this point, is that it will be traded on exchanges, meaning that the price will have some level of volatility, some level of change, because it's not pegged to anything, but it is backed. The question is, how will the backing be transparent? So how stable will it actually be?
That's fascinating. Is that how transparent will it be? Back to the white paper, more points, Asher, that you saw in it, that you found that we all should try and break down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So towards the end, they started to get a little more esoteric. They started talking about the what's next, the future of the Libra Association, how this is going to all work out. And there was a key point takeaway, which I think, my fourth point here that I think that was important. They starts with the association, which, by the way, in and of itself, is I think a term we're going to hear a lot more of. The company, the firm,
the association.
Yeah, the government says we might
the board,
lose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Use with that what you will, but they say the association envisions a vibrant ecosystem of developers building apps and services to spur the global use of Libra. So that's a nice point about inclusion. They want to build a whole layer. They want this to be a foundation.
Yeah, yet they call it the association, not the community.
Exactly, but they want this inevitably to be open to developers building a large array of tools on top of the established network. But it goes on to say the association defines success as enabling any person or business globally to have fair, affordable, and instant access to their money. For example, success will mean that a person working abroad has a fast and simple way to send money to family back home, and a college student can pay their rent as easily as they can buy a coffee.
Those are the golden dreams of the sphere. That was essentially what it is promised.
It's speaking right to
the people of the sphere. Now, this is needless to say. As we said, we're taping this a short while since Facebook went live. The day's still ahead of us. The markets are going to open, but Bitcoin was already reacting. And even wondering with you, this was well thought out. I mean, this is coming out in Facebook fashion in many, many ways, with even the video that we saw promising those golden standards that we all wanted to see within the sphere. What do you make of this and of what you glean? And you'll be with us throughout the next couple of hours from that technical white paper. Where is this heading?
So there are a lot of questions, in the industry. Does it compete with Bitcoin? How will it affect Bitcoin?
What will it do to Bitcoin?
Is it here to replace Bitcoin? And these are all very interesting questions and can be answered, from both sides of the fence. As I see it, the most important thing in Bitcoin, which is decentralization and censorship resistance, does not exist here, thus making it not real competition for Bitcoin in many senses. Having said that, on the other end, it is regulated. It does work within the confines of the existing financial system. It will have to comply with KYC, AML regulation. If the US government tells the Libra Association to freeze funds for a supposed terrorist, they will probably have to do that. So it's not, the alternative financial system that the Sphere was hoping for, but it does provide answer to a lot of the third party and developing countries where Bitcoin wasn't accessible in terms of usability yet.
And we had a conversation this morning with the CEO of Zcoin, okay, with Ruben Yan, and he was very ambivalent about this coin. He said, look, I will tell you, I love the fact that it's going to now be the talk of 2.3 billion people. You can't discount that. That said, he said, I do hope that then they'll take a look at other coins, but that's trusting the public and masses in many, many ways. I want to go back to you, Asher, when it comes to more, reactions to this, right? Yeah.
Well, reactions.
The last quote.
Yeah, reactions certainly. No, there's one more point I'd like to make before we move on to reactions, and in order to understand how this will work, because I agree with Yaniv in the sense that I don't think this is necessarily a threat to Bitcoin. I actually think, and this has been said in the past, but I'll reiterate, I think this is a threat to the US dollar. I think this is a threat to the euro. I think that's...
You do? How?
Inevitably, because look, the way they've structured the governance mechanism of this and the way that they're intending it to be used, and I'm going to take a key quote here, so you're not just relying on my words to see how I think that this big statement is going ahead. So they say, the association is the only party able to, in brackets, to create, in brackets, mint, and destroy, in brackets, burn Libra. Coins are only minted when authorized resellers have purchased these coins from the association with fiat assets to fully back the new coins. Coins are only burned when the authorized resellers sell Libra coin to the association in exchange for the underlying assets. Now, what does that sound very much like to you? Because to me, it sounds a hell of a lot like a reserve bank. I don't know if I'm overreaching there, but that sounds a lot like a reserve bank when they collect their taxes, when they decide on the monetary policy.
A central bank, by definition, that's exactly what it does.
That is their purpose. And to me, that is where this looks much more like a governance structure. This looks like corporate governance.
If central banks had backing.
Exactly, yeah. If they actually, so maybe even a more trustworthy, a more controlled central bank. This to me looks like the development of a corporateocracy. Is that the term? Then maybe there's a better term.
Should be used.
A private central bank.
A private central bank.
And one with a potential user base of at least 2.4 billion if you get the other users, bigger than any country that currently exists out there in the world, bigger than the euro, bigger than the dollar by far.
I want to tell you folks, this is definitely, and we will return to this throughout the day, it is definitely a new dawn in many, many ways. Of course, we'll be right back with more coverage of the major cryptosphere disruption by social media giant Facebook, interviewing journalists, analysts, stakeholders. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter